Hello, folks. We're talking One Piece, and because of my own incompetence, I did not review episode 1129, so I'm reviewing both of the episodes today. So let's get down to with the show. As always, remember to hit that like and sub button. So last week, they dropped episode 1129, and it was a lot of waterworks, a lot of sadness, a lot of hidden Easter eggs for Nika. We got to find out about the whole Buccaneer bloodline between Kumar, his family, him being the last Buccaneer. We got to find out more about them. They are part giant, so that was very nice. We got to find out more about his huge bodily exterior. We found out more about that on Kumar. And of course, on episode 1130, we got to find out about his times in God Valley, where he was hunted for sport by some of the celestial dragons. And we got to find out how some of the greats, I'm talking about Kaido, Big Mom, got their devil fruit powers. And we also got to know how Kumar also got his devil fruit power. We got to meet Bonnie's mother, who is Jenny. We've got to see a lot of things within these two episodes. Of course, the first episode, we got to see a lot of sad stuff, and a lot of Easter eggs in a way from me. We got to find out more about the whole history of Nika and how he's a revolutionary a liberation army soldier type of guy who buccaneers and how the legend of Nika, the sun god, got passed down. We get to see Kumar Bartholomew's father, or Sir Bartholomew's father, him tell Nika, or not tell Nika rather, tell Kumar about Nika. He even does the dance, the whole drums of liberation type of thing, and it's just sad. You get to see Kumar as a slave, how he got into being a slave for that matter. Kid is being a slave because some celestial dragon wanted a buccaneer's blood, or the last buccaneer, as a slave. And to make that even worse, you would assume him being the last, he'd be the most valuable possession in this slave owner. But no, he gets shot because he's trying to put a smile on his son's face. Damn! That was some heartbreaking shit. And then you get to see episode 1130, and then you get to see more from what I like what the animators did. They gave us things from Kumar's perspective. You got to see him blinking. So I felt like that was a brilliant little aspect they did there, where we saw some of the things we already seen, but now we're seeing it from his perspective. And you gotta witness this thing that this guy is 9 years old. He looks 15, fam. He even looks 30, his body size, his stature. But he's young, fam. And you get to think about the whole emotional turmoil he goes through. This is purely psychological. This is purely brilliant in that sense. And of course, we got to see a lot of greats appear in this show. We got to see Sanji's old man. We got to see, correct me if I'm wrong, we got to see Big Mom. We got to see Ling Ling. We got to see Gold Roger. We got to see Garp doing something I didn't know he was capable of. Relaxing by the pool with a bunch of girls wearing bikinis. That was a nice sight to see. This is years before Luffy shows up. So it was nice to see. And it was nice to see the straw hat on Gold Roger's neck, or around him. So that was a real nice little bit of touch. So, and of course, got to see the Rock Pirates, which was nice, white beard and everything. So I have to say, Garp's obsession with Roger is deep. Dude was vacationing, cut his vacation short, fam, and sailed to God Valley Island to get his hands on Gold Roger. Now, we can all be excited about, oh my God, Gold Roger was here, man. It was dope, man. But, damn, the sadness of this 2 episodes, fam. A part of me is now like happy that I did them together instead of me doing one at a time, because the events intertwine. They're continuation. So with that being said, I apologize in advance 5 minutes in, but I apologize because I'm gonna be diving with certain events of episode 1130 to 70 episodes of 1129. So it's gonna be a barrage of reviews in this sense. Now I have to say that the show itself was quite emotional. Like a father telling his son that his mother's dead because she received beatings and shit. And then a father dies in front of his son while trying to make. You have to understand the depth of this. This man got shot by a celestial dragon in front of his son while he was singing and dancing in front of his son, telling his son that they'll be free one day, that the sun god will free him, will give him liberation, fam. Imagine the weight that is. You telling your child that you will be free, my son, and then you get shot during your act of telling your son, have faith, be strong, endure it all, son, you'll be free. That speaks volumes. That is... Oda, you've done it again. You've done it again. You've impressed me yet again. But I have a few questions to ask you. Some things need to be discussed, but they're not relevant. But we really need to have a conversation about this. But I'm not going to talk about it now because we got to see Ivankov, which was nice. We got to see him at a younger age. In fact, when I saw Ivankov and she made the speech that she was going to help them get away, I honestly thought I'd see Dragon. I honestly did. And when I saw Garp, I definitely felt like I would see Dragon. Now, maybe we'll see him next week. I don't know. Fact of the matter is, how does Kumar become member of Revolutionary Army, and how does he join the government to become a spy for the Revolutionary Army? We have to know. We also have to know how he decided to be an experiment for the government, how he got to that level. We got to see Sengarcia again, him being ruthless. I think it's pretty cool the fact that we keep seeing Sengarcia in terms of all the elders. We have not seen other elders flex their powers, because Oda has shown us the man's tentacles, the man's crawly legs. We're going to be seeing a lot of him because I think he's the final boss. So it wouldn't be wise to show other celestial gods their shit at this current moment. That's my opinion. And you have to think about the fact that the celestial dragons, 20 years, that long back, they still wearing those suits because they know the world will be flooded. That's incredible. And the fact that they don't have devil fruit powers because they know the world will be flooded at one point is quite brilliant. I mean, like, Oda's a genius, man. The man's a fucking genius. You've created an enemy. The enemy knows what's going to happen at one point. The enemy creates a suit that protects them. They feed people devil fruits. They make them as a wars. People eat them. They get strong powers for that moment. But as soon as the flood comes, they're fucked. And the celestial dragons got water suits, fam. They'll survive. They'll be fine. And there's some interesting lines that are said, like, how does a person get born to be important? You don't have to earn it. You're just born important. And I'm born poor and a slave. How the fuck is that fair, fam? If we're not going to abolish slavery, how about we earn being slaves? I think prison is being a slave, but you're a slave for a period and then you're out. And you're a slave or in prison because of your actions, fam. Not because you're the last of your species or you're last of your kind. And rich niggas don't hunt you for sport. I mean, like, the levels of things in this show is just mind-boggling. There's people, fam, that are literally hunting people for sport. I think you should check out. This is a response to Hitterus FCF. I don't know if I'm reading your name right. Just commented on my live stream. He's asking where can he watch a new episode of One Piece. 9 Anime, I think. Check out 9anime.com. You can find that. Or you can wait for it until it comes out on Netflix next week. Or you can check it out on Crunchyroll, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 9 Anime Crunchyroll or Netflix next week. It's dependent on you. And thanks for commenting. Anyway, with that being said, there's a bunch of websites. 9 Anime, Anime Hive. Just Google search them. You'll find them. And you'll get to watch this great episode that happened. Anyway, back to my train of thought. As I was saying, we really need to sit down and have a conversation here, Oda. Now that I've talked about the depth of the show, how the hell is Kuma making a baby with Jenny? Come on. You saw Kuma's dad. Dude's thumb is bigger than that lady's thigh. How is he getting his penis in her? We really need to work on the proportions, Oda. Granted, this man is half giant. He's the last of a dying breed. He's the last of a dead breed. And another question. Why is Bonnie not at least a quarter? At least, fam. Granted, her grandmother is not a giant. Her father is half a giant. He has Buccaneer blood. Those are facts. His father had Buccaneer blood. Those are facts. I'm not sure about their great-grandfather if he was a giant. But down the line, somebody was a giant. Those are facts. My question is, why isn't Jenny gigantic? Or a small portion of a giant, fam. Granted, Jenny is tall. And Vegapunk keeps saying, she's a child. Nigga, Luffy's a child. But that's not important. We have to talk about that. How the hell is he sticking his, in her? It's a cartoon. Why are we taking it literally? I know, but this shit has been part of my life for years, fam. We have to talk about certain things. But, jokes aside, this was some touching stuff. Really heartbreaking stuff. Really sad stuff. And if you have not watched this, I hope I didn't spoil it. As much as I possibly hoped I couldn't spoil it. But I have to say this. We have to find a way, fam. This is some sad stuff that we went through here. It's really sad. The way Oda put this together is some sad shit. And we really need to have a moment of silence for that. Like I said, a kid watching his father die in front of him is insane. Watching a bunch of people die in front of you is insane. Being a slave at 4 years old is insane. And then when you see all that, and then you have to think back or think forward, since we're in the past right now. Because bear in mind, this is all happening because Bonnie is having a recollection of her father's past. Now, one might say, how is she knowing this? She had Vegapunk had in his bunker or his tunnel, in his office, in his building, what was still in Egghead, a whole ball that had all of Kuma's memory. And Jenny went in there and she came out crying, fam. So she knows her dad's past. So she saw all this shit. It's fucking sad, man. So from a guy who's suffered all that, why does he opt to be an experiment? Why does he decide? Jenny knows why. Because she found out. That's why she doesn't no longer wants to kill Vegapunk. We know that. We saw that. We experienced that. We felt that. But we want to know as well. Why would he do that? We'll get to that. I know that. We know with his powers he can make people go to a certain place. He's done that for the Straw Hats. We know this. We know that it's been said by Ivankov that he saved 500 people. We know this. He sent them to a place he knows, and they got away. We know this. Ivankov, leave these kids alone. Where's the responsibility here, fam? How are you leaving a 10-year-old and a 9-year-old to fend for themselves after the torment and the ordeal they got through? We really need to have these conversations. Irresponsible Ivankov. But it's not important. What's important is, how does Barney survive? Because Egghead is really about Barney and her dad, to me. Initially, I thought it was Vegapunk. But if you saw episode 1129, even Sen Garcia is like, he would love to see the Straw Hat escape Egghead with all these Marines surrounded. But it will not be the first people to escape an island, fam. And the question is, where's Kumar going? We've seen Kumar. Glimpses of him rushing somewhere. We don't know where, but he's rushing somewhere. We've seen that. We know this. We felt this, and we know this. Where is he going? These are questions we need to answer. We need answers to these questions. We'll find them. How will the Straw Hats go? We've seen Frankie save Luffy when Garcia tries to kill him. Where Saturn tries to grab him. Frankie, this is episode 1129. Frankie grabs the Luffy, who's deteriorating. He looks like a dirty sponge that's been overused. That's how Luffy looks after using Gear 5. Luffy needs food in his belly to be great. Now, I've seen on TikTok, some people say Kizaru is going to help Luffy and feed him. Some people say that. Who've read the manga? I haven't. I saw a clip and I'm like, oh, don't you dare spoil it for me. And I did. Now, I'm doing that to you who's watching this video. I apologize. But there's a lot of elements to break down. Like I said, we even had some Buccaneer, Nika level of stuff happening on this. We had these. Now, these are some tragic backstories we've seen in a while. One Piece, whenever there's a backstory or flashback, it's been sad. Robin's story was fucking sad, fam. Whole island, everybody you knew annihilated. Gone, fam. Sad. Kumar, sad. Ace, sad. That wasn't a flashback, but we saw it. It was sad. Even Sanji's shit, sad. Man, even Zoro's little snippet, sad. Usopp's shit. I haven't said Usopp in ages. Sad, man. Whole village not believing you and shit. That's sad. But Kumar's shit is just... Guy was born. For 4 years he was happy. He became a slave for 5. He was a slave for 5 years. And you think it's over for him? He becomes a slave for the government. Mental. He becomes a fucking robot. They treat him like shit. They use his corpse, his likeness. They don't have his likeness. What contract did this nigga sign in perpetuity? That's the what's the word they use in perpetuity. You know that word where they have the right of your image for all eternity. That's what the government got. They got these pacifists with Kumar's face, and they're gonna be using his face for decades, fam, to destroy. This in a way destroys his legacy, man, of being a hero. Because that's what Kumar is. He's a goddamn hero. A goddamn hero who took care of the Straw Hats ship on Sabaody. Who spread out the Straw Hats so they get the necessary training, fam. And he set them to the right places, fam. Places where they would get the necessary training they needed to be great. He did that. He helped Nika, the sun god, get his training in a way. Who's reincarnated himself in Luffy, in a way. So Kumar's a fucking legend. And learning about him is just sad. Now, Saturn is an asshole. Nobody likes him. Dude kill anything in his wake. You remember the first scene the dude showed up? He killed one of the Marines. Just for freaking out. Now, what I want to know is, why does Bonnie say Satan destroyed her fathers? What did this guy do exactly? How did he convince? That's what I want. How did they convince him to be a government puppet, to be a government test subject? Granted, Vegapunk says Kuma asked him, but why? How was he blackmailed? There has to be a reason for men to go through that ordeal. There has to be. So anyway, let's talk about the theme of this show. The theme shows contrast between Sad Master, how's it, bro? Welcome. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. The theme of this 2 episode is really about showing power of the world's government, how strong it is, and how everyone else is weak, how everyone stands no chance. Sad Master, I'm really good, fam. Thanks for reaching out. I'm really good. Thanks again. Remember to hit that sub button. The theme, as I was saying, the theme of this is really to show or to flex the power of the government. Like I said throughout the last 20 minutes, the world government had celestial dragons flex their powers by having a hunting season, really, where they hunt human beings. And we've seen them blow islands up, fam, like it's nothing. We've seen all this. We know the government is shit. Which makes you wonder, did Oda made this idea that the government's not for you? So this is also, the reason why I say this is the greatest anime, it's relatable to life as well. The government's shit. All governments are shit, fam. And it's shit here. And this one just shows the cruelty of the government in face value. For all to see that the rich treat us like garbage. The rich have fun. The rich know everything in hand before we know. The rich know the world is gonna flood. So they prepare themselves. They buy these fancy suits so that they won't drown when it floods. And then they have competitions where everyone joins in. Oh, let's join in and play these games where they give you powers, position of power, where you're a manager at the grocery store or whatever you are. And instead of bringing your brothers up, you are the Marine, the soldier, and you shoot your own people. Hey, but these are not my people. We're not from the same village, you say. But they're broke, just like you're broke. Only difference is you have a few perks. You're a Marine. What sensible creature sees people getting hunted as sport and is not bothered, laughs it off. Anime is not supposed to be this emotional, fam. It's not. It's not supposed to be this sad and this life-changing. But somehow, Oda has found a way to balance things out. To make a man wonder about his own mortality. To make a man wonder about why. Why watch all this? Why do all this? That's the reality of it. Oda has somehow done that. He somehow brought the darkness to light. Sometimes the rebels are not bad. Rebels may get 50 people killed, but the government kills 1,000. So pirates fighting the government may get a few people killed, who are innocent, yes. But without the pirates intervene, 50,000 of you will die. So you're crying about 1,000 people died, but if they don't intervene, 50,000 of you die. Which do you prefer? Yes, people will die. Eventually people die because of the incompetence of the government and because of the incompetence of the heroes. Some people have to be collateral damage. But what's better? A civilization dying or 5%? Of that civilization, 10% of that civilization dying. I think 10% is better. But would I want to be part of the 10% that dies? Fuck no. But when you think about the fact that a 9-year-old saved 500 people from a bunch of pricks with power, just because these niggas are born into wealth, they're celestial dragons. They're born into wealth. They're rich. They're so fucking rich. People starve. They throw away food. They find fruit that can possibly kill people in 50 years and they give it to you. Social media. Shit that gets our brain rotten for decades. Well, the uber rich don't buy fancy watches and shit. They just buy things that protect them. The uber rich plan to go on Mars. The money they be using to go on Mars could help a bunch of a bunch of communities, man, drink clean water. Don't you find it strange that there are people in America who are homeless? People who are homeless all over the world. But these guys are spending billions, fam, to build rocket ships to go to fucking space. Granted, I'm using Starlink, so keep those satellites up there. But I'm just saying, who knew an anime would make a man ponder great things around his life? Who knew? Oda did, because the man's a fucking genius. So episode 1129 and episode 1130 are not just about the history and the background of Kumar. They are about life itself in general. What's mind-blowing? So, I'd like to thank you for spending your 30 minutes with me. Whether you watched this live or you watched it backwards, I thank you. And it's been a great episode, I have to say. We've talked about how Buccaneers have this belief of the warrior of liberation, which is Nika, showing up to save them. We've seen a father try to make his son happy and get shot. We've seen a team in the Straw Hats risk themselves in order to save their captain. We saw Sanji, a man built on principle, never seeing a woman get hurt, yet pushed back by just mere hockey. Thrown to the ground. Get a bloody nose. Sanji only gets bloody noses when he sees someone's rear end or boobs. That's when he starts flying. with blood. None of that. I just hope, as the clips I've seen on TikTok and a little bit I've read, that Kizaru comes to his senses. Now, there is this thing I've seen years ago, that Kizaru is going to be a Straw Hat. That's an insane theory. I've heard this before. And Bonnie becomes a Straw Hat as well. I don't know. I really don't know. I think Bonnie's gonna stay with Vegapunk. But then again, I haven't read the fucking manga, so I don't know shit, fam. So every second I see, everything is new to me. And everything is wonderful to me. And sad at the same time. It's just delicious. Anyway, this has been the sad story of Kumar Bartholomew, former warlord, great father, revolutionary hero, member of the Revolution Army, the great cyborg of One Piece, the man whose life has been experimented on over and over. The man who put Luffy's pain onto Zoro. And Zoro vowed to protect his captain with all his might. And he's been doing so wonderfully. Dude took on Kaido for Luffy. And if he saw Luffy in his state right now looking like a dirty sponge, he'd fucking lose it. He'd probably chop down that guy's 6 fucking legs in an instant. What I really want to know is when is Zoro gonna open that fucking eye? If it's possibly available to be opened. I've seen clips or theories that once his eye opens, he's gonna destroy niggas. Or his eye is actually dead. I don't know. Hopefully it's not one of those things where, you know how in Marvel, how we got to see how Nick Fury lost his eye, a cat scratched, of course an alien cat scratched his eye, but hopefully it wasn't a fucking butter knife that scratched Zoro's eye out. Anyway, I've lost track of time. Anyway, thank you for watching. Adios. Now that was entertaining. Please let us hang out yet another time. Remember to like and subscribe. Adios, folks. Adios.